think Mick would do good at this. Mick's got a really hard head. People would like break their hands on Mick's head. Mick Aussie. Yeah, he does. What's going on, Mick?
Yeah, I've had a few knocks in Aussie footy and a few falls, but yeah, I'm here. I nearly made it to Grey Cup. I pulled out Tuesday. I couldn't make it for certain reasons, but I was nearly there, Gabe, my 15th, but I decided to stay here for several reasons, but looking forward to the game, of course.
Yeah, you know what? It's too bad you can't make it, but we wish you the best. So what, you've been to 14 Grey Cups before? This would have been the 15th?
I've been to 14
Pretty
Grey
impressive.
Cup festivals. 14 festivals. Some years I didn't go to the game, but yeah, I went to about 12, or I went to about 10 in my first 12 years here in Canada. They're a lot of fun, as you know, Gabe. I got a little bit sick of the same thing as well. But yeah, if you haven't been, first 5 or 6 Grey Cup, the parties are a lot of fun.
Wait, what do you mean?
It'll be cool
festival?
in Vancouver in a couple of years.
There's a festival surrounding the game before the game,
week.
and then you don't go to the game. Oh, it's it's like Super Bowl, literally.
Yeah,
just all the stuff.
Oh, yeah, wow. But it's not as glamorous. It's so each team, it's pretty cool, Dave. Each team throws their own party at the Grey Cup, even if they didn't make it.
Oh,
and there's so it's like the Hamilton Tiger Cat house. So the Hamilton Tiger Cats will rent the place out. There'll be a bunch of drunk Ticats fans, even though they didn't make the game, just getting hammered. You support the league. Like team fans go even if your team didn't make it. It's like a college bowl game. It's like, yeah, my team's not here. So you'll see it at Grey Cup. There'll be all kinds of dudes with teams that aren't even there, and it's acceptable. Like it's normal. You're like, yeah, I'm representing Edmonton. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, so, right. But they all have their parties, but some of them are cooler than others. Yeah, like they got pancake parties. Put it this way, there's a lot of drinking that goes on. Canadians like to drink. You know, there's like 80 million beers are consumed. It's a big booze fest.
Mick, are you confirming this, Mick? Are you able to confirm this, having tended?
Well, he's in the middle of it all the time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. All the regulars get there Wednesday night and go out together, and then the Edmonton party starts Thursday night. And then
what is the Spirit of Edmonton? It's called. See, off the top of my head, the Spirit of Edmonton, right?
That's it.
Yeah. Think of like an expo. Like each team has their. It's almost like trying to recruit fans, like or show we party better than you do.
I love that.
So like Montreal is cool. Montreal shows up. And they're like, we brought our cheerleaders. And they got like, so Montreal just, and then you're like, oh, let's go to that bar. All those cheerleaders are hanging out there, right? So like they all have like different angles. Some will give you pancakes, some will give you beer or whatever. But it's a cool time. And then everyone recovers on Saturday because they got so hammered on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then they do it all over again on Sunday.
Wow. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Actually, Saturday's the best day.
Why? Why is Saturday the best day?
No, then you're all hungry. Yeah, I guess you have time to recover. The game's only at 6. I was thinking about that, Dave. So, like Michigan State and Ohio State, that's what I don't like about it. It's at noon. Like, you can't get blasted the night before. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, you can't.
Like, no. You wake up, you're all hungover. Oh, go blue. You're sitting there. I've done it. Trust me. It's not the same. I don't like it. If it was Saturday night, you build it up all day, and then you're blasted. You know what I'm saying? But
used to do that all the time in college. We were trying to. Like,
what'd you do at Penn State? You stay up all night, it's for the noon games?
No, there were for the big games. You know, when they were big favorites or it was going to be a blowout, you just went hungover. It wasn't a big deal. But when it was a big game, you know, Penn State,
you had to be ready.
State, Penn State, Michigan. Yeah, you had to tone it down Friday night.
If you're going to see Eastern Michigan, you just sit in the stands with your head in your head.
Oh, yeah. The Eastern Michigan games, I used to, oh, God. Sometimes I'd be like, I'd have done a Mick. I'd have just gone to the tailgate. I always went into the game, but I had a lot of friends that would just never come in. It was just like, yeah, I don't want to go in there. I'll just sit.
Oh, that's a big problem, actually. So, Mick, who do you like in this big game? Winnipeg, laying the 5.5, or the Argos?
Well, I took the Bombers at 4.5 on Monday, and I think they will win well. However, the big key, as you know, Zach Collaros, the star quarterback for the Bombers, he went off late in the game against the BC Lions. I thought it was his knee or his lower leg, but he has an ankle problem. Apparently, he practiced okay today, they're saying, but at quarterback, if you're not quite right, it could affect his game. I'm sure he'll be taking the painkiller injections. He's a very good player. I think the Bombers' defense is so good. They will beat the Argos. But, hey, anything can happen. As you know, the Argos have got good running backs. Harris is back. And they got good wide receivers. They got a good defense as well. But generally, the West has been better. So Calgary, BC, or Bombers, I would have picked any of those teams over the Argos. But, hey, let's hope it's a close game. Bombers to win by 10-20, I believe. If Collaros is fit.
10-20?
10 or more.
That's you say, all right, 10 or more. 20 would be a real blowout. I wanted to see, though, you brought up something about the West is best, and it definitely is. So when's the last time a team from the East actually won the Grey Cup? It was the Toronto Argonauts in 2017. So Winnipeg won last year. There was no Grey Cup the year before. Winnipeg won the year before that. Calgary won the year before that. Toronto won the year before that. Ottawa actually did win. Basically, the West wins all the time with a sprinkle of Toronto every 2-3 years, it seems.
Right.
And Toronto are usually dogs in these games. So the thing is, Winnipeg they're on the verge of greatness, winning 3 times in a row. They're not going to slip up. The fact that it is out west in Mick's just loves Regina and Saskatchewan, right? It's going to be cold there. It's going to be all Bomber fans, too. Besides Rider fans that hate the Bombers. The Bucks.
Too early.
Bucks and the Sixers is the good early game. The Bucks are up 43-35. We're on the Bucks there. Yep. All right, we got Mick Aussie with us. So, Mick, I don't know if you have the ESPN Classic. I'm going to put it on now. I'm sure they have. Here we go. What year is this? They got the Montreal. They got the famous Duval game with our boy Mick. When Duval missed the kick. There was too many men on the field. Here it is. Yeah, Saskatchewan and the Montreal. See how, Dave, they have like ESPN Classic Canada. And it's really cool. Like all Grey Cup week every year, they play every Grey Cup. So it's great memories.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? No, they show the classics or whatever. Like, so I watched War
highlight
like 2 or 3 times. No, the whole game.
Oh, the whole game. They played a whole game.
Yeah.
That's awesome. The actual game broadcast with the commercials and the graphics and all that stuff.
Yeah, but it's sped up a little bit. Like, so it's condensed for time, so it's even cooler.
Yeah.
But it's really cool. Like, I watched War and Moon with the Eskimos the other night. Great games. There was a famous ice bowl against Montreal at Olympic Stadium. That's the thing with the Grey Cup. Like, Winnipeg have kind of sucked the life out of it a little bit because they're so good. Usually it's like a wild, crazy game, the Grey Cup, and higher scoring. But Winnipeg's defense, somebody just got dropped again here.
Is Mick Good sitting outside at these games? Mick, you're immune to the cold and stuff. You don't mind sitting out at the games?
The last one here, I went to the Grey Cup. My girlfriend, we sat down for first quarter, and it was like -10. No, you move around. As long as you can walk around a little bit, it's fine. But -10 Celsius, it was cold sitting still. Move around, you're fine. But yeah, I've been to a few at -10, -15. It's cold, but people love it.
I was at a really cold Grey Cup, like the one in Toronto, like 5 years ago or something like that. It was cold, and exactly, Mick, I was smart. I didn't even go to my seat. I didn't care. They had like this concourse area where you could stand, and there was a bar. And you could sort of like, you know what I mean? So I was sort of just walking around. I get cold. I'd sort of move my feet, walk over a couple other feet, and watch from there. So I just watched from this concourse area because, I was like, there's no way in hell I'm sitting like in some, and it's like a metal, like sort of seat type thing. I'm like, I'm not sitting in that thing. You stand up. You're better off standing up. You're right. I think they're going to win. I think they're going to cover. They're not going to win 5 in a row like Edmonton. They're not going to rattle off 5 in a row. They're going to get up to 3. 3's pretty impressive because there's been a lot of good teams that have gotten to 2. Anthony Cavillo won 2 in a row with Montreal, with Mike Pringle. You got Doug Flutie. Remember Doug Flutie and the Argos are really good. There's been some, the Stamps have had good teams. So the Bombers aren't the greatest team ever or anything. Let's not overhype it. But you know what? They probably are just because today's players are better, but you got to win a bunch of times in a row, not just 3 times. So, but I do think they get to 3. All right, Mick. So let's get to your Denver Broncos. What a train wreck this is. 2 proud fan bases that are hanging their head in shame. Like the Raiders and the Donkeys. What do we call the Raiders, Dave? The Faders? The Faders and the Donkeys? You want,
yeah, that's not a bad nickname. I'll just let Mick do it. Mick always comes up with some good nicknames for these teams.
Mick, what do you say? What do you have to say, Mick, about this game?
You're gonna like the Broncos here, aren't you? You have to.
Do we have to talk about it? I mean, Russell Wilson's even getting.
Yeah, you're not even wearing your Bronco gear. I noticed that. Yeah, no Bronco gear.
Caught in the Alps because I hope they're coming.
You'd rather wear a team that hasn't won a home game in 4 years than the Broncos.
Oh boy!
Yeah. I hope whoever loses, the coach gets fired. I hope either the golf hack gets fired or McDaniels goes running back to Billy Belichick wanting his job back. It's disgraceful. And I don't know, it could go down as the worst trade ever, getting Russell Wilson. But hey, I have faith. I'll have a little bit of faith. I don't think he worked hard enough in the offseason. I just thought he'd come in and be the guy and all that. He's a little bit overweight. He didn't work hard enough, so maybe he can come good. But nah, Jerry Jeudy was injured again. So no faith. I just hope their defense can pull out a win because, the Raiders, they're terrible as well. But the car guy, I don't mind the quarterback and Adams, so they can score. But, oh, man, what a train wreck. I'll be watching the Grey Cup over the Broncos, put it that way.
What do you think, Dave, of the Raider-Bronco game? I'm not betting it. I'm just going to ignore it. I've had enough of both of them.
So me and Peralt did the reboot. We signed up for the reboot. So we're trying to come up with 5 games. And I said, we got to pick the Broncos as one of the games. And he adamantly said, no, I think we should just not use the game. So he might have talked me off.
I can't imagine him being the easiest teammate, with all due respect to him. He's a pretty, the
first week.
I mean, with due respect.
The first week, the text back and forth. I just gave up. The last game, we couldn't come up with the 5th game. I just gave up. I said, all right, fine. Just pick Jacksonville. I didn't like
That's what happens. Yeah.
And then they lost. They didn't cover. And he was texting me all day Sunday. They missed another field goal. I'm like, I told you I didn't like them before the game. So I was actually rooting for Jacksonville to cover, and they didn't. So I said Denver. I still think Denver. But the game is miserable. The game should be the game's going to go under, right? Like Denver's defense is the best unit, but their offense with Russell Wilson can't score. So it's 41.5. I think it's a dead under.
Yeah, I got to agree with that. But get this, they were saying during the week that the Broncos are the first team since your Steelers 50 years ago where their defense is rated number 1 and their offense is rated last. I mean, that's disgraceful. So let's give it to the Broncos defense. Good on them. They're a real unit. I like their young coach at defense. So go the Broncos defense. They must be upset with their other guys on offense. Imagine the argument starting to happen soon.
Yeah,
man, the defense of the Broncos has been unbelievable. We talked about it. We brought it up last week. If the Broncos would average 18 points a game, they'd be 8-1.
Yeah, how about that?
18 points. And last year with Drew Lock, they averaged 19 points a game.
They averaged, right.
This year, they averaged 14. They've actually gotten 5 points worse a game.
With Russell Wilson. Yeah.
And they gave up 5 draft picks to get worse. And they owe Russell Wilson $250 million.
Oh, thanks.
So it's a problem. Maybe Russ should trade him for Kyler Murray at this point. Because, Arizona's got oh, my God, what did we just do? We owe this kid $250 guaranteed, pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Just think about it. And Murray's not getting along with anybody. Yeah, just say, call Denver, say, listen, you guys, wouldn't you want, like, he's younger, take him, and we'll take Russ off your hands.
Ooh. Man.
Hey, I'm just problem solving out loud here.
That's it. Yeah.
All right, Mick, what's your sheet say? We got a couple more minutes left. Yeah, what's your sheet? Yeah, me and Dave need help. I'm in the reboot too. We need help. What do you got?
Well, I make up my mind, and then I listen to hours of all the other guys. So I've come up with the 5. The sleazy or shining, I am going to go for the Giants, the Commanders, the Chiefs, the Bears, and the Bengals. They're my top 5, and a couple others. I thought the Bills might cover as well, but that's what I settled on for the top 5, plus or minus. I've done all right the last few weeks, so hopefully I can keep it going. But it's tough, as you know.
I like some of those. Except I think the Chargers are the play. I buy into Joe, what we talked about with Dave earlier. The Chargers hang around with the Chiefs, and you're getting 5.5 in the contest. Not 4.
What do you see in the Bears, Mick?
Well, their quarterback, Justin Fields, Broncos could have had him. Hey, we could have had him.
Yeah.
That hurts even worse. And he's
look good
playing
there.
well.
Yeah.
So could the Falcons. He's from Atlanta.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think the Bears might get that one done. But a lot of tough games. I mean, look at last night. Stupid pick. I went the Packers, and I like the Titans, so I'm an idiot as well.
What about the Cowboys and the Vikings, guys? That's a tough one, huh? You know, it's the first time since 1976 that a team that is 8-1 is an underdog that didn't have their starting quarterback. So Kirk Cousins is the first starting quarterback. 1976. Wow. Like the Steelers or something were fair. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but like, yes, it's 1970. So in other words, like an 8-1 team is never a home dog. Thanks, Mick.
See you later. Have a good weekend, guys. Well, it was again a lot of fun on SportsGrid TV with Gabe and Dave talking more about the CFL Grey Cup. Well, the Argos lead the all-time with 17 Grey Cups. The Eskimos, now Elks, are second with 14 Grey Cups, and the Bombers are in third with 12. We have the Stamps and the Tiger Cats on 8, the Alouettes on 7, the BC Lions on 6, the Saskatchewan Rough Riders from Regina on 4, and the Ottawa Red Blacks on 1. Well, I've been, like I said, to 14 Grey Cup festivals. It starts on Wednesday night, goes right through till Sunday night. We even partied on a Monday night once in Vancouver watching the NFL football. But there really is a lot of good parties. The Spirit of Edmonton goes Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. They have the Spirit of Edmonton breakfast on Saturday morning, and they open their room at like 2 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Friday's a good day as well. You might have the CFL alumni great dinner and speeches. That was great. I went to that a couple of times. On the Saturday, you have the Randy's function raising money for cancer. That's a good one. And then, like Gabe was saying, the Alouettes have a good show as well. And theirs is often at, say, at a nightclub or something like that, which is really cool and a bit different from the other parties that are generally in bigger rooms. Be a lot of fun. My favourite Grey Cup ever, probably game-wise, would be 2005 when the Edmonton Eskimos, now Elks, defeated the Montreal Alouettes in double overtime at BC Place, and of course Pamela Anderson was the parade marshal, so check out some of those shows. Also, my first one ever, 1999. I had so much fun. Had the media pass, ended up in the Tiger Cats locker rooms partying with the guys, because it's your first. I'm like, what is this? This is fantastic. Great fun. A lot of good times. Talking a bit more about the game on Sunday. It starts at 4 o'clock Mountain Time. Yes, the Bombers are favoured. It started off at 4.5. Now it's up to 5.5. The under-over is 48. I think it might go under. I don't think the Argos will score that much. Maybe, say, 27-17 or 27-10. But who knows? Even with the CFL, the last 3 minutes, where 60% of the games this year have been decided in the last 3 minutes, a team can be up 2 touchdowns and the clock stops at the end of each play in the last 3 minutes, so you can be down and get back in it. So don't stop watching if a team is up by 2 touchdowns. The running back battle, very interesting. Oliveira for the Bombers is very good. He's a Canadian who played at North Dakota. And then we have, for the Argos, we have Andrew Harris, of course, the great Canadian running back who won back-to-back with the Bombers and didn't re-sign. Not sure what happened there. He got in a bit of trouble a few years ago, but he is a very good running back. He's like 34 years old now. He is good. And his other mate, Orlowette, from Ohio at running back with a long hair. He is very good as well. The Argos had a couple of players in the CFL All-Stars, a couple of defenders, and the Bombers had 5 players that made the All-Star team, the CFL All-Star, including first-year Dalton Schoen, the wide receiver from Kansas State. He had a great year. Bombers defense, Willie Jefferson, the Monster Man, and Adam Big Hill and others, they're very, very good. But hey, the Argos upset the Stamps to win the 2017 Grey Cup, so you just never know. But I'll be watching closely how Zach Collaros, the quarterback, how his ankle/leg is at the start of the game, because it's important for footwork as a quarterback. So let's see what happens. Hopefully it's a really good game and a great day in Regina. So NFL, I'll be up early watching the pre-game shows and the games as well. And there will be about an hour when the Grey Cup is on and the Broncos are playing the Raiders. So I'll have the TV on the Grey Cup and I'll watch the Broncos on DAZN on my phone. Bit more about the Grey Cup. Now, the Argos have got some good wide receivers as well, including the star, one of the best players I've seen in the CFL, Brandon Banks. He's had a bit of a down year, but he could come out and shine in the Grey Cup. We also have Giddens Jr., who was an all-star. He is good, and Daniels as well. So, Argos, you never know, but you got to go with a gut feeling after Sunday night, where I think the Bombers will control the game and win by 10-21, like I just said with Gabe and Dave, 10-20. But hey, who knows? Don't really care. But if the Bombers win, there'll be all the Watermelon Head fans from Regina in the crowd, upset because that is a huge rivalry. Winnipeg Blue Bombers versus the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the magnificent stadium. Check it out on TV. It's probably 5 or so years old now. We got to get there next year, for sure, as they say here in Canada. Now, NFL, let's go through my winners. I think the Bills will win. The Ravens, the Giants. Patriots and Jets, that's a tough one. I've gone for the Patriots, just the Commanders. The Bears as an underdog over the Falcons. Rams and Saints, that's a nothing game. Maybe the Saints. Eagles over the Colts. Broncos over the Raiders, hopefully. I've gone for the Vikings just over the Cowboys. That should be a good one. Bengals over the Steelers. Chiefs over the Chargers. And the 49ers over the Cardinals. So hopefully you can check out McAussie.tv. Sign up for my newsletter. And let me know if you want to watch my movie, Football Fan Frenzy, with about 65% CFL and the rest mostly NFL. Have a great weekend. McAussie.tv.